Todd English. I'm the chef and proprietor of my own restaurant group, the Todd English Enterprises. As far as what makes Massachusetts home for me is that, first of all, I'm transplanted here, but I've been here so long that it feels like home to me in the sense that I know so many people here. It's familiar. I built my career here. My grandchildren grew up here. It's a home base in the sense that also it's where I started my career. Since I have been here so long, it's sort of an evolution of, just being here and kind of putting your fingerprint and your stamp. I mean, from the standpoint of opening my first restaurant, my own restaurant, and building my empire out of Boston, empire, I use that loosely, but my career out of Boston, it really has been a place that I'm very proud of, and it's a signature place for me, and it really is. Anytime I either traveled outside of Boston or I worked on any kind of events in Boston, I was always very proud of what it represented and representing Boston, not only here, but nationally and internationally. When I do come back to Boston and I haven't sampled some of the stuff actually we do here at Kingfish, which is the wonderful lobster and corn chowder that we do here, or a great lobster roll. I'm always love that in the summertime, and those are kind of things that I'll tend to come back and be craving when I'm away in Asia, trying to, exotic cuisines, whether it's Indian or Thai or whatever it is. I come back and say, wow, this brings me back home. I got to tell you, I live on the waterfront here in Boston, and sometimes just hanging out on the waterfront in Boston is a lot of fun, or hiking, or going out just outside of Boston, Lexington, or hiking out in some of the trails out there. I'm a huge fan of Nantucket. I have 2 restaurants out there. If I'm going to get away, to me, I go like you've said, I go a lot of places in the world. For some reason, when you land on that rock, it's 27 miles out to sea. It's kind of like, you just kind of relax. The world just kind of goes away, and it really does transport you into total relaxation, and just kind of, it just changes my whole attitude. From the standpoint of when I first fell in love with Boston, I spent a lot of time traveling in Europe and working in Europe, and I felt I wanted to be in a city that had some of those traditions. So in other words, Europe, you feel that tradition, you feel that history, you feel that sense of community wherever you are, and often it's not the bigger cities, but the smaller villages, and I look at Boston in that same way. It has a sense of history, it has a sense of place. There's a great community here. It's a big town, but it's also a small village in many ways. So it fits all those kind of categories and those ideas that I loved in Europe when I was cooking there, and I wanted to feel that same sense in the place that I called home in America. If you're coming out of college, or you have that entrepreneurial spirit, which I always did, and I felt at some point I just couldn't work for anybody else, and I had my own vision of some things that I want to do, obviously from the restaurant standpoint, but also from branding and all the things that I've attempted to do or have done in my career. And I say this even to when I'm talking to chefs, that want to be on their own or develop their sense. It's truly, to me, is stick to your guns, do in what you listen to people, but believe in what you set out that original mission to be. What is your mission statement? Stick to your mission statement. Don't change that, because there's going to be a lot of people that come out and say, hey, there's no way you're going to be able to sell shoes on that island, or whatever it is. And it's most of the time it's the doubters that don't do it. So stick to your guns and do it. That worst thing can ever happen. You just say, well, I tried. You don't want to be sitting there at 60 years old, and that was always my philosophy, and saying, hey, I wish I had tried. Massachusetts, it's all here.